Good morning. Welcome to your daily, well, at least every weekday daily cup of cyber. Today's Illy Coffee brought to you by the great city of Dallas, Texas. As we start the day, um, it's Wednesday, we'll be talking about a threat. So, the threat we're talking about today is a piece of ransomware. It's called AKO ransomware. And if you've been following along on the Cyber Insider track as we talk about Security Plus, you'll know what ransomware is, right? There's a bunch of different types of ransomware, and some of them are crypto lockers. And that's actually what this AKO ransomware is. It's a crypto locker, goes in, it locks up your data so you can't get to it. So that's the topic of the day as we'll be talking about this morning as we enjoy a fresh cup of coffee. That's pretty dang good. So let's get into it. This thing's called AKO ransomware. When it first came out, a lot of people thought it was very similar to another piece of ransomware called Medusa. So they called it Medusa Reborn or New Medusa. And the funny thing is the people that wrote this piece of code, this ransomware, let some folks at Bleeping Computer know that it's not. It's a different strain. It's a different piece of malware altogether, right? So when we look at this thing, vulnerable systems are Windows 10 desktops and Windows Small Business Server 2011. Those are the targets for this thing, and we'll see why later when we think about the way that this thing spreads. I'm talking about it does spread. It acts like a worm. It looks like there's not full understanding of how it spreads, but it looks like it spreads like a worm. So it's spreading through the network. So it's not only individual systems at risk. Like in the past, we've seen some crypto attacks that attack an individual system. This looks like it goes for individual systems and also spreads through the network. So sometimes I get mixed up on that thing. So most people are thinking that this thing is most likely using remote desktop services to spread, right? And again, it's probably spreading as a worm, so it's spreading without user interaction. Normally, that's the way that a worm works. Of course, it is going to jump from one computer to another without user interaction. So if you are studying for your Security Plus exam, or you just want to know what a worm is, difference between a worm and a virus needs that user interaction, and a worm doesn't. A worm moves on its own, generally through networks. So, like I said, it's but it is not Medusa Locker. It's a different strain. It's a different virus altogether, according apparently to the folks that wrote this thing. So the first thing it does, it gets onto the system, and it deletes the shadow volume copies and recent backups. Of course, that makes sense because if you get attacked by a crypto malware, the first thing people want to do is they'll want to get their backup and just recover it. So if you can get your backup and recover, then the crypto attack is not very good. So first thing this thing does goes in and it deletes your backups if it can find them. It's going to get rid of your shadow volume copies and recent backups so that you kind of are stuck with this thing. You've got to deal with the after effects. It disables Windows recovery, and then it starts the encryption process. It starts encrypting your files. And the crazy thing about this one, first thing, it's going to randomly add it adds a randomly generated extension to the files it's encrypting as it goes along. I should say that before we get too far. And then it adds an ID marker so that the system knows which files it has encrypted. Funny, it skips these system files like EXEs and systems and DLLs, because you can get them back easily. What it's after is your data. It's trying to encrypt your data, so pictures and Word files and other types of data, especially in a corporate environment. Those work-related files, it's going to try to lock up. So it doesn't care about the executables, the files that you probably can get very easily. You can usually find those again. If you need to reinstall Word or something like that, you can get those executables back. Then it starts looking for other machines in your network to encrypt. Obviously, this is where it becomes dangerous on a network. It'll start seeking out other machines to do the same thing, to follow the same process on those other machines that it can exploit. So, as you go through and you look for this thing, it's not normally going to infect just one machine. It's going to try to get as many as it can. And then finally, when it's done, it's going to add an AKO README file or AKO README.txt file to your desktop. And that's going to be the note, hey, we've encrypted your files. If you want them back, you're going to have to pay us some money. So normally it's going to try to get millions of dollars. So normally it's going to be going after something like a corporation, an enterprise, to try to get the most money. But I don't think it would be limited to that. So, the end state here is make sure your systems are patched and up to date. Microsoft just released some patches, I think yesterday. There's some new Adobe stuff out there. Make sure you have patches in place. Make sure your antivirus is in place. Use your personal firewall that comes normally with, I think, every operating system now. And be safe out there. Watch what you click on. Watch what you're replying to. Any system can be vulnerable. This is just another example of something out there that could potentially ruin your day, ruin your organization's day. So if you're worried about yourself, definitely take care of these things. If you're worried about your organization, if you're the security point of contact, you're the person responsible for security, keep things updated, keep them patched, keep the antivirus patched, keep your software patched and updated. Do the things you're supposed to do to be safe in this modern world. So as always, please comment below, like and subscribe, hit the bell. I'll let you know when these new things are coming out. I guess be safe out there. Enjoy the day. Have a safe and productive Wednesday.